The other day, I was watching a segment from the CBS show Sunday Morning entitled The Economic Fallout of the Coronavirus Disease. In that segment, they interview Joseph Stiglitz. Stiglitz won the Nobel Prize for Economics in 2001 and is currently a professor of economics at Columbia University. Here's some of the things that he said when he was asked to address the current economic situation that we're facing because of the pandemic. In the pre-virus economy, too many were left exposed. Now, he's not talking about exposed to sickness or disease, but exposed financially. In the pre-virus economy, too many were left exposed. Families and businesses were at risk if conditions soured. Before this event, many households were living at the edge. Businesses have been really foolish taking on debt as if no storms are ever going to hit. They've been really, really foolish. We've developed a system without resilience in which we've left extraordinarily large numbers of Americans vulnerable. Let's just review a little bit about what he said. We've been living on the edge, leaving ourselves vulnerable. We've been really, really foolish. This interview reminded me of something that Jesus once said. He had been out doing public ministry with his disciples, and someone from the crowd yelled out to him, "Teacher, please tell my brother to divide our father's estate with me." Apparently, these two brothers were arguing over their inheritance, and for some reason they thought that Jesus might be able to fix this problem. Jesus replied, "Friend, who made me a judge over you to decide such things as that?" Then he said, "Beware, guard against every kind of greed. Life is not measured by how much you own." Then he told them a story, a parable. A rich man had a fertile farm that produced fine crops. He said to himself, "What should I do? I don't have room for all my crops." Then he said, "I know. I'll tear down my barns and build bigger ones. Then I'll have room enough to store all my wheat and other goods. And I'll sit back and say to myself, 'My friend, you have enough stored away for years to come. Now take it easy. Eat, drink, and be merry.' But God said to him, 'You fool, you will die this very night. Then who will get everything you worked for?' Yes, a person is a fool to store up earthly wealth, but not have a rich relationship with God." How do you think the crowd responded to what Jesus said? Let me make some suggestions. First, I think there were some in the crowd who probably thought this: "I'm not rich, but if I were, I wouldn't be like that fool. I'd give my surplus away." Who is rich? Jesus is talking about a rich fool, and who exactly is rich? Rich is relative, isn't it? Rich is somebody who has more money or more possessions than I do. Rich is a millionaire, a billionaire, but I'm not rich. The guy down the street who's got a bigger house, he's rich. This applies to him. But of course, there's someone down the other end of the street who has less than I do, who's saying the same thing about me. Is the rich only the 1%? So do you think Jesus would address only 1% of the crowd? The second thing you might think, or this person might think, is this: this is just good retirement planning. He's not a fool. He has enough. In fact, what he said, "My friend, you have enough stored away for years to come. Now take it easy," sounds like it could be a slogan for an investment company, helping you to plan your 401k, right? You see, what Jesus said is this, we might reason. Yes, a person is a fool to store up earthly wealth, but not have a rich relationship with God. But it's okay for me to store up earthly wealth because I do have a rich relationship with God. I think I am a pretty good person. I don't have any trouble being greedy. There's a second response of somebody in that crowd. Another person might say, I am rich. I don't want to be a fool. I should give more money away. I should give more of the things I have away. But you know what? I don't think Jesus was saying that. I don't think he was trying to convict people in the crowd that they're not giving enough away. Why do I say that? Because Jesus went on to say some other things that indicates that. So after saying this, telling this story, this parable, Jesus goes on and says this. Then turning to his disciples, Jesus said, "That is why I tell you not to worry about everyday life, whether you have enough food to eat or enough clothes to wear, for life is more than food and your body more than clothing." Now here he's not talking about people living in mansions or driving expensive cars, but he's talking to every one of us, and he's talking about our attitude toward the basic necessities of life, what you eat and what you wear. Let's go on. Look at the ravens, Jesus said. They don't plant or harvest or store food in barns, for God feeds them, and you are far more valuable to him than any birds. Can all your worries add a single moment to your life? And if worry can't accomplish a little thing like that, what's the use of worrying over bigger things? Look at the lilies and how they grow. They don't work or make their clothing, yet Solomon in all his glory was not dressed as beautifully as they are. And if God cares so wonderfully for flowers that are here today and thrown into the fire tomorrow, he will certainly care for you. Why do you have so little faith? And don't be concerned about what to eat and what to drink. Don't worry about such things. These things dominate the thoughts of unbelievers all over the world. But your Father already knows your needs. Seek the kingdom of God above all else, and he will give you everything you need. So don't be afraid, little flock, for it gives your Father great happiness to give you the kingdom. Sell your possessions and give to those in need. This will store up treasure for you in heaven, and the purses of heaven will never get old or develop holes. Your treasure will be safe. No thief can steal it, and no moth can destroy it. Wherever your treasure is, there the desires of your heart will also be. Let me just review a few of the things that Jesus said here. For life is more than food, and your body more than clothing. Yes, you need those things. But what Jesus is saying is you can be free from being dominated by the fear of amassing more and more, or even meeting those basic needs. And you are far more valuable than any birds, he says, to God. He knows your needs. And if God cares so wonderfully for flowers, he will certainly care for you. Why do you have so little faith? These things dominate the thoughts of unbelievers. Your Father already knows your needs. You see, faith is this trust in God, so it sets you free from the domination of these things and of greed. That's what Jesus is saying. He's emphasizing your relationship with the Father. Seek the kingdom of God above everything else, above all else, and he will give you everything you need. So don't be afraid, little flock, for it gives your Father great happiness to give you the kingdom. Wherever your treasure is, there the desires of your heart will also be. Jesus is asking the crowd to consider what it is that we treasure. Do we treasure God? Where our treasure is, there will be our hearts. See, Jesus is not asking you or anybody in the crowd to do anything you don't want to do. You see, he's saying you need to live by faith. Don't do anything that's not from faith. In other words, don't do anything that's not based upon your trust relationship with God. I'm calling you to trust in God, Jesus says. And when you do that, You will be set free. You will give freely because you're not dominated by those things. You're not greedy. You're free to live under the love and lordship of God, and He will care for you. Let me leave you with one other quote. One of my favorite Psalms is Psalm 73, and the psalmist there is struggling with seeing people around him. He refers to them as the wicked, those who don't know God, and how they seem to live carefree lives and are getting richer and richer while he's struggling more and more. Here's some of that psalm. I envied the proud when I saw them prosper despite their wickedness. They seem to live such painless lives. Their bodies are so healthy and strong. They don't have troubles like other people. They're not plagued with problems like everyone else. Look at these wicked people, enjoying a life of ease while their riches multiply. Did I keep my heart pure for nothing? Did I keep myself innocent for no reason? So I tried to understand why the wicked prosper. But what a difficult task it is. Then I went into your sanctuary, O God, and I finally understood the destiny of the wicked. Yet I still belong to you. You hold my right hand. You guide me with your counsel, leading me to a glorious destiny. Whom have I in heaven but you? I desire you more than anything on earth. My health may fail, and my spirit may grow weak, but God remains the strength of my heart. He is mine forever. But as for me, how good it is to be near God. I have made the sovereign Lord my shelter, and I will tell everyone about the wonderful things you do. Wherever your treasure is, there the desires of your heart will also be.